Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. How are you guys doing? I hope all is well on your end. But I'm going to talk briefly, real quick, about misery love company. That saying that misery loves company. And it is so true. There are so many people who are miserable in their lives. They're miserable with their lives. They're miserable with their spouse. They're miserable with their job. They're miserable with their weight, their appearance, whatever it is. But they're looking for company. They want you to be as miserable as they are. You know, there's this individual, I didn't even know at the time, for a very long time, I didn't know that she was in an abusive relationship, which, nobody should be in that situation. However, she was in that situation. And, some people like being victims. People enjoy victimhood. There's some people who like that. And some people, I guess any attention is better than no attention. So they'll take negative attention. Just give me some attention. Some people are like that. That's their mindset. Especially people who have low self-esteem, low self-worth, that kind of thing. So this particular individual apparently was involved with someone for many years, or I don't know, was one of her kids' father. And he was abusive towards her. Like he would lay hands on her also, and was verbally abusive. And again, I hope this is not triggering for anyone. If there's anybody who is involved in any kind of domestic situation, you should seek help. You should call a hotline in your in your state. Yeah. But like I said, this woman was very unhappy, apparently. But fast forward to many years after, because she had, I believe, broken up with this person by now, but she always find herself in another situation. It's a different person, but it's the same spirit, I guess, same energy, frequency, whatever you want to call it. But one day, and she's trying to introduce me, hook me up to some family member. And I'm like, no, I'm okay, I'm good. I'm not even interested in this person. I'm not even attracted to this person. But she kept insisting on us being friends and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, I have enough friends. I don't want any friends. I'm too old to be making new friends, and I don't want any friends. I mean, I have my friends, my regular friends. I don't need new friends. I mean, if they come, they come. But this is somebody already, I know this person. I don't need to talk to this person on the phone. No. But anyway, she would bring it up more than once. And I thought this was so weird. Like, why would you want me to become friends with somebody in your family? And clearly I'm not interested. But again, misery loves company. Like some people are really unhappy. They're really, really unhappy with their lives. Some people are unhappily married. Instead of happily married, some people are unhappily married. Some people don't like their spouses, or if they love them, they don't like them, or whatever the case is. They don't, a lot of people don't like their lives. And here she is insisting on me going out with this individual. Now, we went to a gathering, and went to a barbecue, and one of her friends, mutual friends we have in common, heard, we're talking about different people, and I said, oh, she wants me to go out with this person, and the individual was like, but this man is a woman beater. I looked at her, and here's the girl who now tried to hook me up with this woman beater. The other mutual friend we have in common, or acquaintance, I don't really have a lot of friends, I have a lot of acquaintances, said what she said. And here she is trying desperately to defend this character that she wanted to hook me up with. And you ever had something come out that wasn't supposed to come out, or you hear something that you weren't even supposed to be privy to, but God placed you at the right place at the right time to hear get the right intel? And here I am watching both of them go back and forth about this character. And the acquaintance that we're both, we know in common, have in common, was like, yeah, remember when he did X, Y, and Z to this party, like this person? And I think she had to wear eyeglasses. She got a black eye. I'm sitting there like looking up. And then the one who wanted to hook me up with this party is stumbling over her words. And me being the person that I am, I don't mind somebody making an ASS of themselves. I'll just sit there and take it in, especially when I knew right from the get-go that there's something wrong with this. Like, why would I be interested in this guy? It's not my type. I don't like this guy. But here she is insisting on me getting involved with a woman beater because she's involved or was involved or just hate her life with a man who wasn't, who was verbally and physically abusive. Now, when you think of how cruel people can be or how wicked people can be, and that's why it's good to have discernment. You don't just jump into any situation. Sometimes people want to introduce you to somebody, fall back. You don't have to give everybody your phone number, get everybody in your space and all that stuff. And here I am. I'm a real good judge of character. I'm usually pretty good. Sometimes somebody might get over, but for the most part, I'll get like this feeling, or how you can't explain something. You can't explain why you feel a certain way, but you're like, this doesn't feel right, or I think this is okay. And usually 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, you're pretty much on the money. So I'm kind of like that with people too. I didn't have anything against the fellow. I just wasn't interested in this man. And I'm like, it just didn't feel right. And here comes a third person coming in and just laying out all this information about this man being a woman beater. Now, of all the people in the world, knowing what I did for a living at the time, why would anybody want to introduce me to a woman beater, a criminal? Put it that way. Because if you're violating people, you're laying hands on people, that's a criminal act. It's called assault. Yeah? You have different forms, different types of assault, right? You have assault that's misdemeanor. You have assault that's felonious. A felony, meaning if you break somebody's arm, it becomes a felony. You hit somebody over the head with a cup, a fire extinguisher, a weapon, whatever it is. Anything can be a weapon, eh? It becomes a felony. Then you also tack on menacing on it. So, you know what I did prior, or what I was doing at the time, and here you go. Want to involve me with a criminal. Make it make sense. So in other words, you're trying to jeopardize my career or something, because there's no way, and anybody who knows me and know me well, no, there's no way I will go for a woman beater. And for me to be safe, and for that woman beater to be safe, it's best that we're not even friends. Because can you imagine? Well, I can't imagine it. Someone trying to lay hands on me and I just go for it. And I'm not trying to trigger anybody. Everybody handle things their own way, or they get involved with whomever they want to get involved with. But a woman beater and I really won't have much in common. I usually collar those people. Most of my arrest was for domestic violence. I have no patience for it. No patience. I can't stand a man who puts his hands on women. Can't stand it. When you mess with the vulnerable, we got a problem. Meaning children, animals, the elder. Nevertheless, we're talking about this woman trying to hook me up with a whole man beater. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Now, when you think about this, where I reflected on this whole thing, I've reflected on it, and I'm like, she hated this is a frenemy. Clearly, she hated my liberty, me being free, me not being trapped, tied down to an abuser. She hated how outspoken I am about these kind of situations. You know, and sometimes people see your light and they try to stifle your growth. They try to stifle your light. Because God knows I got entangled with that man beater, woman beater. That woman beater. And I had to defend myself against this woman beater and get caught up in the system because I go licky go date a woman beater. That wasn't going to fly in the get-go, from the get-go. It wasn't going to fly with me. And I'm always grateful that I have discernment. You know, I just peeped him and I knew I didn't. There's something about him I couldn't place my hands on. Like, you would always be nice and, hi, how you doing? That kind of thing. But I wasn't, And here comes homegirl talking. Yeah, you don't know when he gave this girl the black eye and she had to wear glasses. And I'm like, huh? What? Try to hook me up with a woman beater. Get a hold of yourself. You know, not everything that glitters is gold. Everybody want to, talk to you. You don't have to talk to everybody. Thank God I'm the way I am. I don't like talking to everybody. I don't need everybody up in my space and in my energy, back up. Just give me 6 feet. Before the 6 foot rule, came with the pandemic, I was always like, give me 6 feet. I need 6 feet. All that close talking, running up in my space, my face, back up a little bit. So I was never the one to just, embrace everybody. You're going to try to hook me up with a whole woman beater. I think that man even caught a charge before, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if the lady also said that. Then here's the ex-friend, the frenemy, with the stupid grin on her face. Like, girl, you thought you was going to trap me up? She really thought she was going to trap me up. Ain't that something? But like I said, misery love company. Here she is, taking her beatings and what we going to compare bruises and knots? We're not going to compare knots. What are you doing that for? That's not my thing. It's not my thing. Like I said, I have no patience for it. I hate it. I can't stand it. And if there's anybody going through any kind of domestic violence, get help. You call your local authorities, precinct, station house, commands, and you get the help that you need and you get out of these situations. It's never good. Nobody should be laying hands on nobody. You weren't sent here to get abused. None of the madness. If that man is laying hands on you and laying hands on your children, and you're sitting there tolerating it, especially if the man gonna lay hands on your children, get out of there. Get out of there. I have no patience for DV stuff. I can't stand it, you know. But like I said, of all the people, is how many of us on this planet? 7 billion. And this woman would want to hook me up with a perp. That's what I call him, a perp. You laying hands on a woman, you're a criminal. You know, nobody should be laying hands on nobody. Women shouldn't be doing it either. But we're talking about dude right now, because dude is the, you know, the subject here. And apparently he was laying hands on, you know, his baby mama. But anyway, guys, thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And I'll catch you on another video. And I hope you have a great evening. God bless. Take care.